Hey friends, want to talk today about the cause and effect of what's called the Build Back Better bill. Now, our current administration has put this into effect because they want to encourage Americans to enroll in the state exchange and receive a subsidy. Now, I tell you, for some people, that's great. Some people need a subsidy. They're not being offered coverage. Whatever the scenario is, there's just no access to it from their company, or maybe they're not eligible. They work multiple part-time jobs, so they don't have access to this, and they have to go to the state to get an exchange. Well, here's what a lot of these folks don't understand is that actually puts their employer in a particular category with the IRS that kind of triggers some audits if the IRS determines that this employer is an applicable large employer or ALE. So let's look at this. Currently, they had a record number of people enrolling in a state exchange healthcare. In fact, over 14.5 million people have enrolled this year. That's a huge spike up from last year. Why are people enrolling? Well, it's simple. The increased government subsidies are there to help. There's also very high enrollment rates in states where there's no Medicaid expansion, so there's no access there and there's no access from their employer. And of course, the state exchange is giving people more options. Now let's look at a couple figures here. Why? Well, the premiums for these particular health plans, they're 90% less than what's being offered to them on the open marketplace or at their company, because the company's only offering a major medical plan to the full-time eligible folks with salaries that can actually justify spending that on their health plan. The state exchange is ensuring that that person will not spend more than 8.5% of their household income. And of course, that means that all workforce employers, they must offer a minimum essential coverage plan to at least 95% of their full-time equivalents. If they don't, and those folks going to the state and get a subsidy, that's going to trigger an audit, and that's going to affect the employer because they're going to get a 226J letter, and there's going to be a penalty, and they're going to have a very short window to respond, pay the penalty, get in compliance, and try to make sure that they don't get penalized the following year. Which, by the way, there's no statute of limitations on a company being out of compliance. Once you're audited, they'll go back as far as they can and get you for all those years. I've seen it a bunch of times. And so right here, want to talk a little bit about why people are actually enrolling. Well, you know, all the studies show that there's been a spike because of the affordability, and also the FLP was put at 400%. And so that's a big deal. And so what is being kind of brought out to the American people is, hey, come on the state. We got you covered. We raised the limits on the FPL. You have more options. You'll never pay less than 8.5%. And that sounds great to a lot of people. But you as an employer, you as an employee benefit advisor that's supposed to be watching your employer and protecting him from this, you need to understand what's going on here. The government isn't doing this to help you as a company. They're hoping these people get a subsidy so they can audit and come back and penalize your groups. If you're an employer watching this video, all of this is happening so that these folks can trigger an audit and allow you to get taxed via a 226J letter. So as an employee benefit advisor, you need to understand the Build Back Better bill. You need to understand why it's in place. You need to understand all the resources available to you. In fact, if I were you and you're not savvy on this, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Give me a call. In fact, if you go on my profile on LinkedIn, all of my information is available if you select the contact tab. I look forward to having these conversations with you. Be happy to jump on a phone call and accompany you with your group as an extension of your team, however you want to do it. I just hope that you all take this very serious, because when your group reaches out to you and says that they got this letter, they're going to be wondering in the back of their mind why they even got that letter. You're their broker. You're supposed to be helping them and making sure that this doesn't happen. So anyway, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, because if you saw this video, now you know you have a resource. So anyway, I always look forward to talking to you all very soon. And on this particular subject, I hope I talk to you sooner than later.